2021 municipal elections. The final voter registration weekend is on the 18th to 19th September from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. Every vote counts.
One South Africa movement leader, Mawethu Mosery, and his wife today registered to vote in Claremont in Cape Town. This as voter registration opened this weekend, and political parties are campaigning across the country to encourage registration. SABC News reporter Vanessa Puna caught up with Mawethu Mosery.
One South Africa movement has used this opportunity over this registration weekend to use its voice, not just to speak to young people to come out and vote, but also just to reiterate their support for independent candidates here at a voting station in Claremont at the moment. I am joined by the leader or chief activist of One South Africa movement, Mr. Mawethu Mosery. Mr. Mosery, good morning to you. You've just come here today. A short while ago, you have updated your details here at this voting station. Let's talk very briefly. You made a point of encouraging young people to use this opportunity. You're saying that at the end of the day, this election speaks directly to the youth.
Yeah, I mean, we are in the middle of a generational gap, and I'm asking young people to turn out in their numbers. 18 to 25, this election is about them. Young people are the most unemployed in our country. Young people must realize that the candidates that they elect and they vote for must be like them, people who want to bring change. And that's why I'm working with independent candidates across the country and here in Cape Town for communities that are left out, where we say we can bring them out in their numbers to bring the change, so that Cape Town and South Africa works for all the citizens, particularly citizens that have been left out.
When we talk about Cape Town specifically, you mentioned areas such as Mfuleni, areas such as Langa, etc. Which numbers, how many independent candidates will be contesting, are you supporting in this poll?
In this particular city, we're looking at just over 25 candidates that will be here, that have been nominated from communities like Kailicha, Langa, Guguletu, Mfuleni, Philippi, and all across Forest Village, etc. Because we think that if we want to build a city that works for everybody, it needs to deliver services all across, even for those communities. Citizens who don't have houses, citizens who don't have running water, electricity, citizens who don't feel safe at night because of the crime. And therefore, the One Movement for Cape Town is the local organization that we are working with here, that has selected independent candidates and will be on the ballots to come and bring that change in the city of Cape Town.
Mr. Mosery, thank you so much for your time. Mawethu Mosery, coming out to this voting station. You're in Claremont this morning, urging young people, but also all South Africans to use this opportunity at either the voting stations or online to register this weekend before the proclamation of the election that's due on Monday. Of course, at the moment, I can tell you that this specific voting station has been rather quiet this morning. According to the IEC, yesterday briefing the media, some 1,557 voting stations have or should have been opened this morning, and we'll check in with the IEC a little later on in terms of how the process unfolded on this first day of the final voter registration weekend, and we'll bring you more information in later bulletins.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. And the ACDP's Reverend Kenneth Mishwe was also on the campaign trail in Westbury here in Johannesburg.
Imagine what we will do if we are in charge. If without being in charge, without having the resources that others have, we have been able to do this. Now, people know that we care. People know that we care. We help them because we care. Other political parties, they talk about it is our time to eat. Now, the ACDP is not about eating. It is time to help our people. It is time to restore their dignity. It is time to restore even the lost hope they had in governance. There are people who say, we're not going to vote anymore because these people have been lying to us all the time.
The Patriotic Alliance, meanwhile, in Kimberley in the Northern Cape, assured residents They will change the narrative of the lack of services should they be elected in power in the Salt Lake municipality. The party took its campaign trail around Kimberley, saying people deserve better services. So the party aims to take a number of ANC and DA wards in the city. The party's focus is mainly on young people. Residents in Kimberley have been complaining about a poor service delivery in the city. The party says their service delivery already started in Kimberley and want to cater to the needs of many. They have high hopes things will improve in the city, but the voters have the power in their hands.
If I do become the mayor of Salt Lake Municipality, I will do my utmost to change the narrative of what is actually transpiring in our municipality. Kimberley was a beautiful place. Kimberley is known as the Diamond City, and it sparkled at one time as the Diamond City. But now it looks nothing more than a grey piece of dust. When I say that, I mean that our youth they are going down the drain. Our infrastructure is non-existent in Kimberley and in Salt Lake Municipality.
All I wish for is changes, to see changes in my community, whereby the service delivery, the lack of service delivery that happened, and now I see some things should be changed because of right now, it's our potholes, it's our electricity. We don't even have toilets by the shanties. I would like things to come to our ward, especially projects and stuff, whereby youth members should participate in these busy programs. Right now, my youth members are wasted this side.
Meanwhile, the National Freedom Party is confident it will regain municipalities it lost in 2016. The party did not enter the 2016 local government elections after it failed to register.
Once a political force, the NFP is now a shadow of its former self. The party was crippled by internal strife and recently suffered a severe blow with the passing of its founding leader, Zanele Gamagwaza Msibi. The NFP failed to register for the 2016 elections and paid a heavy price, but it says it's now poised to regain lost ground.
One of those municipalities is Zululand District Municipality, Utuwela District Municipality and Mkanyawude District Municipality. But also we're hoping to do well here, even here in Tegweni. That's why we're here today.
Mdletshe says they are currently focused on the upcoming poll and will deal with the election of the new leader after the elections.
At the moment, our focus is on the elections. We are not going to dwell much on the president's departure. Our main focus is to do well in these elections. Our main focus is to win the wards here in Eteguni and other parts of South Africa. And we'll deal with the issue of the presidency after the elections.
The NFP is contesting in all provinces, with the exception of the Northern Cape. Bongani Kema, SABC News, Durban.
Thank you very much, Bongani. So over 23,000 voter registration stations opened this weekend. Doors opening at 8 a.m. and closing at 5 p.m. There was also expected to be additional security in some of the hotspots. South Africans, of course, heading to the polls on the 1st of November. Let's get an update now on how the situation went today. The IEC Deputy Chief Electoral Officer, Mawethu Mosery, joins me now live. A very good evening to you, Mr. Mosery. Thanks indeed for your time. So a bit of a rocky start in some instances, complaints about glitches on the online registration system. Has that been resolved?
Good evening, Griselda, and good evening to your viewers. Indeed, it was an eventful day, certainly on the part of the activities outside in the voting stations and in communities and active political party activity. And certainly on our systems, we were using our new gadget, which held its space. And we are also watching the new platform that we created, the registration online. We did notice that the volumes of traffic to our system were way too high, and we had to make an intervention so that we could alleviate losing the interest of the South Africans who wanted to change their details online. And therefore, we had to stop its geocoding and its mapping abilities to allow for our machines in voting stations to continue functioning as well as to then allow those registering online to continue to do so. We have fixed the capacity to handle the volumes, and we'll continue to do further fix by creating additional capacity to handle the volume of South Africans who may want to use the online system tomorrow.
Yeah.
And with our voting stations, we are stable now and ready to go full steam tomorrow.
All right. No anticipated further glitches you're expecting, but should this take place, I mean, we're already hearing some political parties indicate that they would perhaps ask the IEC for a bit of an extension online or even at the IEC offices. Is that on discussion at this particular point?
Not at this stage, because we were seized with the problems that we were trying to resolve, as indicated. But certainly we would listen to those requests, but we are limited in terms of time, given the timetable we have that is reduced in its usual comfort number of days. Yeah. So we would look at that at the right time.
Are there particular hotspots that you're monitoring as the IEC? I mean, this week we did see some protest action in some parts of the country related to a number of service delivery demands.
Yes, we received the sufficient reports from our security establishment in the country, particularly SABC in our prof joints. And national joints, and we were monitoring various areas. For some interesting development, the areas we expected to have challenges in did not surface this morning. We're actually new areas that we are not expecting, up to about 53 voting stations. We're not able to open early today owing to protest. And there's an indication that in Umsunduze municipality in KwaZulu-Natal, close to about 8 voting stations are still being challenged, closing, opening throughout the day. So we are working with SABC, and their intervention and response time has been satisfying for us. We are comfortable with the work that they had done.
Mr. Mosery, just very quickly, then what happens in areas like that where people would want to register and that is, of course, interrupted? They might otherwise feel robbed of the opportunity to do so if there are those who show up at those particular stations and would want to register. What are you looking to do to assist in communities like that?
We will continue to open those voting stations tomorrow and operate throughout the day. And we've been in discussions with SABC to ensure that they are sufficiently secured, those particular voting stations. So they should operate fully tomorrow. But in the event that the communities do not come to register, then they have the option of using our register to vote online to update their particulars, as well as register and put themselves on the voters' roll. Suffice to say that local leaders, elected as well as traditional leaders, are making the necessary interventions.
All right. Thank you very much indeed. Mawethu Mosery, the IEC Deputy Chief Electoral Officer, will be speaking, of course, to the IEC quite a bit in the run-up to this local government election, getting some updates on that. We'll take a short